Welcome to DNBC TV, where we interview interesting people to see how they got there. Adele Academy was founded by 29-year-old Adele Khor. It is one of the few music schools in Penang Island that cover a wide variety of hobbies and academics such as music, chess, art, public speaking, and tuition. A common theme among them is that the teachers strive to make the classes as interactive as possible to cultivate more interest. Working with international schools for recording productions as well as video editing, Adele Academy has grown since its inception in 2018 to a large student and teacher base it has today. My guest today is none other than the woman herself, Adele Khor. Welcome, Adele. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start at the very beginning. When you started Adele Academy, what were you doing at that point? Like, what was your job, or were you studying before you started Adele Academy?
So I had this dream to start my own music school when I was like Form 1, Form 2. That was my dream. And of course, my parents were calling me insane because like, can you just go and get a real job, a corporate job? So I had to actually prove my worth. So I started writing songs and jingles so that advertisements was the products that will start paying me some money. Then okay, there's actually some income coming in. And also when I was in college, I did a part-time job teaching music. So that also helped with everything. I completely like forgo my allowance. So my parents thought, okay, she seems to know what she's doing. You can do this as a part-time, but I still want you to have a full-time job because, you know, nobody wakes up one day and say, oh, I want to open a music school. So that was my dream from then. So I started planning on how I want things to look, exactly drew out all my plans. And long story short, I was working in a school as a music specialist there. Then I was thinking to myself, oh man, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be working for someone else. And when I can, and I don't really, I really have a particular way of teaching, and I wanted to showcase that style. And, you know, I don't want to be restricted to one particular part, because a lot of them, they will tell me that, oh, okay, so you need to follow our guidelines, and then you cannot teach them too much. You need to always like stand by, and so that you have to prolong your lessons, and you cannot go up grades fast. So I was thinking, hey, what if my students can actually have the capability of moving forward faster? What does that mean? Oh no, you just have to maintain year by year so that we will have them for a while. So I really didn't like that. And also when I was studying music, I had a couple of friends who were talented. Actually, I think more talented than me, but because of monetary issues, they couldn't continue. So this is what I wanted my school to be. It's like a more affordable place to learn, as well as create talent. If there's talent, we also offer like programs where we will reduce your fee and, you know, try to help you out.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I started this officially with SSM in 2018. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
So
before that, I was teaching personally.
you were earning like a steady paycheck before you opened your own music studio, right? Was that how you managed your capital?
So to get my capital, I also, to please my parents, I actually joined the financial planning district. So I actually am a life and financial planner for AIA. So on top of doing that, and I try my best to always be number one. So because of that, the income there is actually supporting this stream, or else, you know, I won't have enough capital to support it. So the first year was rough because we needed to do renovations. We needed to always put out money more. So with my other job, it helped with time flexibility. That means that if I finish my goal or whatever, my boss is very chill. She's like, okay, as long as you hit your target and you're earning within the income that you want, you do whatever you want. So okay, as long as I finish, I attend the monthly seminars and workshops and all that, I was fine to go on my merry way and to do this. So I always needed that stability. Until today, I'm still doing AIA, which really, really like, I love teaching, and in a way, I love like teaching people how to plan. So it's a job that I will still stay, even though I have this business.
Yeah, it sounds like you are a natural born teacher, like you're geared towards it, and then you take on love for that, and you take your love for music, and you're like, let's do a music school. That's how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think so. I always love sharing how I do things with people. If it works, I want more people to do it.
Mhm.
So I guess from there is the genuine thinking that I want to help people get better at whatever they're doing. So
Very nice.
slowly, one step at a time.
So when you started your business, would you say it was more like I'm diving headfirst, I'm putting all my eggs in this basket, and this is going to happen, I'm going to make my dream happen? Or was it more of a very calculated, very planned out risk?
It's of course it has to be calculated, because if you're not sure of the circumstance, like for example COVID-19.
Mhm, yes.
This really took a big toll, and I'm very very glad that I have my reserve and all that, and it was all through calculated risks that allowed me to still maintain my business in this current situation. Yeah.
No, 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 no. So 2018 to now, obviously you've had tons of trials and tribulations. Can you tell us about the one major hit that, or at any point you felt like this may not work? I may have to close shop.
Thankfully I never got to that stage, because I was very slow and steady, and because I already had I had a full time income coming in, and it was a substantial amount. So this was more like a hobby turned into passion, turned into dream, opening up a business. So it was very easy for me to like continue on, and I didn't really have to worry, because whatever that is being generated here is sometimes it's break even, sometimes it's there's profit, so it's never a loss. So I'm very very thankful for that, because we work on teaching. So if the person doesn't pay their fees, then the teachers don't get their fees. But on
Mm.
top of that, it's just the rental that we have to cover,
Mhm.
which is pretty decent compared to like full-time employers and all that. I don't have to worry about, oh, I cannot pay my staff this month,
Mm.
because they are on a very clear contract saying that they are part-timers, and they also have full-time jobs. But of course, whatever I do, I will try to make sure that they have their income back, and everything will be fine. Yeah.
Obviously you want to pay your employees well, you want to make sure that they're well taken care of, and obviously you come from, we can see that you definitely cover all your bases in that element. So you mentioned COVID-19. You teach music which has instruments. How do you cope with COVID-19 in general, with like all the
Okay.
blowing of the instruments and all the particles going everywhere?
I know, right? So thankfully 5 years ago, I had students who moved away. So like from Penang, they moved to KL, and they still wanted me to teach. So then 5 years ago, I was open to the new realm of online teaching.
Hmm.
So in terms, that is very good, because all my trials and my practice and everything was already done. By the time this happened, I think I can say that I was a bit further on, a few steps ahead compared to other schools, because this is what I've been doing. So I have students from UK, from US, and from Hong Kong. So this has helped cultivate and actually hone my skills to make it even better now. So it's a good way to up your game lah, I guess.
You were
So
prepared for it before COVID hit.
yeah, technically.
What other ways were you prepared for COVID before COVID hit?
What other ways? Basically, not much. It's just that in terms of personal life, I've been doing this. I always tell people you need to save at least 30% of your salary for anything else. And I practice a 70% save of my salary. So because of that, yes, I lost a lot of income. My general income has dropped since March 2020, but I had my savings to tap on. And thankfully, my income is enough to still service my loans and get things moving without having to dip too much into my savings.
Hmm.
So I guess for me is some always save for a rainy day, because you will never know what happens, and when it happens, it happens.
It seems you've taken a lot of roles. Like you are a teacher, you are an entrepreneur, you are your own business owner. You also do AIA agent sales. So that's kind of like an employee business. Which of these roles do you identify most strongly with?
I think each of the roles that I have taken have a similar thing. I just want to make people's life a bit more interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to make sure that I leave a mark on them, so like a good one, so that at least they can take away something like, oh wow, Adele came to me and I learned something from it, so I there's a way to benefit
Mhm.
people. And it happens in my AIA business, it happens in my music school. So I think that's where I want to be. I just want to help people make their lives a bit easier, because I have gone through a lot of different trials already, and I've been there. And I just want people to, realize that, hey, you're not alone,
Mhm.
and let me help you out of it if you want.
So you've achieved a lot at your age of 29, right? And you talk about all the trials that you went through. So let's go back pre-pandemic, a little bit just before the music school was born. What was the biggest trial you had to overcome when you were just thinking about starting a school?
I had to think about the liabilities and the cost, and whether my income would be sufficient enough to run the school if there are no students.
Mm.
So yeah, I needed to see on a 1 year survival mode, see whether it actually can survive. And I'm thankful enough to have a place with cheaper rental. So and the utilities are pretty low, because especially now when there's COVID, there's no teachers, the electricity is not on. I I don't even teach in aircon anymore, which is good. It's healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that way, I had to plan all this out, and also I had enough savings to do my renovations, because in my mind I have like a couple of savings meant for certain things. So I have big occasions or business occasions. So this one also, thankfully, my parents, they knew about this, even though they didn't expect it to be used on music, but it was for more like an ang pao for my next move. So they bought an insurance plan with savings inside. So by the time I was 26, 27, oh, I have this enough money to renovate the whole place. So
Mm.
all these things actually help make my decision, and help make it easier. So unless you have those funds ready at hand, don't try to open a business yet, because it's not a business if you have to start off your life with a big loan.
Mm, okay, that's interesting. So that's a very different. I talked to a couple of business owners, and I feel like everyone has their own story and what they believe is the best way to start a business. So, in your opinion, what is the number one mindset that you need to have when you're going to start your own business?
Don't take it too hard.
Mm,
Um, yes. So like in business, you have gain, you have good performance, but you will also have losses. You will also have negativity. You have critical people talking about how you're doing it wrong,
mm.
and you just don't take it too hard. If you feel that it's you're on the right path, then you are. And in terms of business, it's very easy to see if, let's say, for let's say a music school, you can see through the student count, through the parents remarks. Yes, out of 10, possibly one person will not be happy with you. But
You can please
if you
everyone.
take that, yeah, you can't please everyone. Yes, correct. So if you can just take it take it as constructive criticism, I think you'll be fine, because everyone has a reason of saying it. So maybe they are doing it in a more harsh way. We just try to see whether it is really worth listening, and actually trying to improve ourselves.
So, what do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned in the past 2 years of running your own business and also being a teacher and also doing all of these things?
We need really, really good friends.
Mm-hmm. So, you're
So in terms of support, yeah, in business and outside of business, because I have had friends who tell me, oh wow, they're always helping me, bring me up when I'm down and all that, because we it's never it's never a very smooth journey, this running a business. So I have people say, hey, okay, I have friends who are very, very critical. So they will tell me what's wrong, and show me whether I want to take action on it. And I have people who's always just putting me down, saying, oh no, your business will not be successful. Why don't you just go join an MNC company and just close this down, just do this as a hobby. So pick your friends, because and as well as your partners, because this will play a big factor on how you see yourself.
That's very true. Do you then draw a line between friends that you have for social and friends that you have for networking?
I I do have a couple which are a mix, and I'm thankful that a lot of my friends, they say like birds of a feather flock together. So they all have the same mindset as me. Some of them are business owners as well. So we work together and they help. We are not selfish. So let's say they have something that they need from me, I wouldn't hesitate to help them, and I would gladly say that they'll do the same for me. So let's say I needed to do a corporate event. Oh wow, I have so many friends that are willing to just, hey, come, I will put you in and help you. So it's good to have, and I don't think that you should separate them, because I think everyone has their merits. It's just that if let's say they get a bit too toxic, and you're always feeling bad whenever you're with them, that's when you have to self check and see whether they're really helping you or they just want to put you down.
What do you think are the top three factors, let's say, for the ultimate business mindset? Talking about things like your connections or your ability to problem solve or your resources or your strategy. What do you think are the top three most important characteristics or personality traits to be a successful business mindset person?
Top three.
Mhm.
First is being determined
Mhm.
and knowing your goal. You have to be very goal oriented. So every year, I will sit down with my partner and we'll decide, okay, this year we are going to target how many new students, or how much growth of income, how much growth of profit, because that's the objective of a business, is also to create more profit so that we can expand. So what's the next step? Do we pursue online? Do we do online workshops,
Mhm.
which we are thinking about right now? Do we also do like corporate events where they can just come for a weekend and learn something? And so what is next? Do we just maintain as a school, or should we be more innovative? So in terms goal oriented is very important. Discipline. Don't simply spend because, oh wow, I want to upgrade this, I want to upgrade that. Wow, it will make my life better. And if you do that, right, someday I have like irrational items in my place right now, like, oh wow, it looks good but it's not doing anything. So have to be very prudent and disciplined in terms of, oh, this is your profit, don't just blow it all on things that are not necessary at the moment. And the last one is having an open mind, because like I said, you're not 100% correct. You always have some form of problem in your in your life that you can't see,
Yeah.
and if you're not open, then that's when your business will stop growing, and that's when you don't get to move up your level. You will always be here.
Yeah. Especially when you start your own business, especially if you're a one woman show, it comes to a lot of check and balances, but everything is on your own. How do you ensure that you check and balance yourself appropriately? Because some people would say that it's kind of like I take my own exam and then I mark my own paper. Then it's a bit it's not to say unfair, but like obviously you chose that answer or you chose that route because you thought it was right. So how do you also hold yourself accountable to ensure that decision is right?
In that analogy where I mark my own paper, I have to be very critically honest and not cheat. So if my answer is wrong, why is it wrong? So in terms of that, yeah, I have to be honest, and be very critical on what I'm checking on, what I'm doing, and whether it's beneficial to the business or not.
Mhm.
So but in that way, I've been always wanting a partner, but the thing is, I'm not looking for investors, I'm looking for a 50-50 partner where they are very interested in helping the business grow as well. So I have one partner, and her name is Sarah Suse. So she is really, really good. She helps me in the ways where I am not able to. So, like in terms of advertising and all that, I passed it on to her. I've coached her, and she has managed to do things spectacularly, and it helps with my burden. So you as a one woman show would need to accept that you can only do so much.
Mm.
And so that was 2020 for me. I was like, oh no, I can't handle all of it alone. So that's when I was willing to open up to a partnership and to help coach people, to whoever was interested in learning what to do.
Because when you get to a certain point, it becomes, I need to delegate because I cannot do everything on my own. It's just not feasible. Right.
It would be nice, if you don't have to pay anyone full time, but in reality, you need a team. You can't really do this by yourself, especially when what happens when it becomes too big for you.
Mhm.
Then at least you have people to fall back on, and like, oh, okay, you're doing this, and you don't have to like worry like, oh no, now I have to train new people at this current situation. No, yeah.
It is about reinvesting and growing, especially when you're running your own business. You want to push it further. So you came from a stable income job, like very, lucrative, stable income job with finance and insurance. And then now you're doing a risky-ish venture that is starting to break even, occasionally making profit. And you can see these two very contrasting fields and trains of thought. How do you feel moving over? If you were to like just move everything over completely, do you think that's very scary, or risk that's just because a lot of people, especially in the Asian community, would be like stable income, stable job, that's the one you keep at, and then you pursued your passion and you're making it happen. But between these two, that jump, what do you think of that jump?
I think it's good, and I do enjoy it. So until I don't enjoy it, I will probably be with it. Yeah. So, but in terms of, is it okay for me to move? Yeah. If the time comes and I just want to fully focus on my music, it's fine, because guess what? I'm a teacher there too, so I do have a stable income in my school as well. I'm not just a business owner, but I'm hands on and seeing it run, and actually making sure that the lessons are going according to my belief.
How do you feel that advantages you as a, so take another music school whose owner is not actually a teacher. How do you think you get an advantage by also being on the ground while also managing from high above?
I'm very grounded in terms where if I lose students, I lose my own personal teaching income. So I'm very sure of how having to make sure that the student count is always there. And on top of that, I think it makes me a bit more empathetic to my teachers, because I know I've been there for so many years, I think 10 years, and I know how sad it is to be working in a music school. So I don't want them to feel the same way. So I always try to add in more perks and something that is different from other schools. I would like to try and do that,
Mm.
because I believe in the value of part timers as well. Because just because they are here for, maybe one of them even have like 3 students, what does it mean? I know they will still get their own. We do have a promotion scheme. We do have some bonuses and some competitions going on, friendly competitions. So like, oh, who wants to try and win it? Go ahead. So this is just to keep morale high, especially in times like this.
Yeah.
It is, and also it helps challenge all of us to be more creative. It's like, oh, if I'm not teaching, I would think a bit differently. I wouldn't have like ideas on. I started on my own YouTube channel. So what can I do in YouTube? If let's say I don't teach, I wouldn't like have the ideas on putting on some certain music videos
Mhm.
or even live shows. It's not there, because if you're not hands on in your business, why are you running it?
Yeah, very true, very true. Do you find that because you run a business of part-timers and people have other safety nets, do you find it easier or harder to motivate and to make, not make, but to encourage people to collaborate, to be a better team, to work together as like a second family?
So being part-timers is based on how well they know you and how well they are connected with you. So if let's say they are just strangers, I notice that they're very more reluctant to do all these extra things like, why would I want to help you with a live stream? I'm just a part-time. But
Mhm.
so these people are actually very, very kind and generous in their time. And I also have friends or outside of the business who will still like donate their time to me to
Mm.
help make this a success, especially when we do like charity streams and all that. It's a free thing. We don't benefit from it, but then we still need the manpower to handle. And I'm so glad to have friends and colleagues to help me push through. And of course, the cons are is that, oh, my stable job needs me to do more, so I need to pull out. That happens too, but it's still it's a pro and con situation. I wouldn't say that part timers are not the way to go, or all the way you should go part timers. You should still have people who are there in the long run and will stay with you, because I have teachers who work with me for a year, less than a year, and then they have to go and pursue their real job and all that. So I understand. So, but that's the con. So you have to start again fresh with another teacher and have to coach and have to build the trust again. So that's the downside.
It's very inspiring to see that you've come from both ends of the circle. So you've come from the stable financially safe option to the I will pursue my dreams and do what I love option. If that's the case, what do you think people should be doing? How would you advise younger people when they choose their career paths or when they choose to apply for their next job? Is it follow wouldn't I wouldn't say the money, but follow stability and a safe path, or venture off the beaten path and truly follow your passions, whether or not it becomes safe?
I would say do your research before you venture to any path, because you can take a full-time job and have a lot of money and realize that it's not where you want to be.
Mhm,
But you can also start a business without any foundation. It will be so unstable.
mhm,
So in any path you take, you just need to make calculated risk, because there is no correct path. You
mm,
just pick the best of the path that you want to be on. If you decide to be full time in a corporate job, sure, go ahead. But make sure that you're happy. Make sure that you know what you're doing, and if there is your goal, then go and pursue it. But if you want to do a business, make sure that you read a lot, you mix with a lot of people. Don't be selfish,
mhm.
because especially for the younger generation, like from my age onwards, we tend to think that we know more, but we don't. So I do have a lot of older mentors that help me and guide me into building this, or just giving me friendly advice. So it's up to you to whether you want to take it and hone it, or want keep in check or something.
That's very nice to hear. So just 2 years on, you've already have this amazing music studio with 130 students, 11 teachers, and you have links with international schools all over Penang Island. Where do you go from here? What's next? What will happen in 3 years or 5 years?
So we're hoping to open up online courses. So
Mhm.
that means where you can just get a membership and you go and see the whole database of what we offer. So basically, a Fiverr or Udemy of Adele Academy, probably. Yeah, so that's where we want to go. And we also want to conduct more workshops. And I would like to, because I'm Catholic, so I would like to also help out in church and make sure that people in church are honing their talents and also serving in
That's really
terms,
nice.
yeah.
See that you have other passions you also want to pursue, because you went from insurance to music studio. So is there anything else you want to try to, get your fingers in?
I think for now I am happy with where I am,
Hmm.
because I'm also in my personal life. I'm settling down, and probably I will want to start a family and all that. So I think the business it is where it is for a reason. So the next step will possibly be that I will want to open up branches.
Hmm.
So, but with the current situation, our plan have been backlogged. So it's okay. It gives us time to do other things. So the online workshops actually came because of the pandemic. So it is you deal with the hand that you play with the hand that you're dealt,
Hmm.
and you try to win it anyway.
That's very true. You mentioned that as because we know that as women there are certain challenges as business women that you face that may not necessarily be experienced by a lot of people. What do you say is the number one challenge that you had as a woman starting your own business?
The disbelief of others, especially friends and family, because till date my family members, I don't even have any students. So they do learn music, they do learn like other stuff that we have, but not with me. And you just have to accept that you don't need you're not entitled to this type of support. If they do want to help out and they want to like join and trust,
Mhm.
yes, that would be good, but you are not entitled to like, hey, you're my friend, you're my family, why aren't you doing this with me? Why do
Mm,
you go somewhere else? It is what it is because people don't believe yet. And then when you start growing, then you realize, how come you never do this, how come you never do that, how come you never ask me?
mm,
So then it's okay, just move on. And yeah, I feel like don't feel too entitled to your relationships. And also yeah, just keep a strong head because people will always put you down.
mhm. So last question, because I know you're very busy and certainly you have other things that you need to attend to. So what advice would you give specifically to young women out there who are looking to forge their own path?
Always always grow, always keep pursuing knowledge because the more you know, the better you'll be. And like I said, I always stand by this is do your homework before you pursue something.
Mm,
Don't just go at it halfway and like, okay, let's just try this now. No, you need to have a plan. You need to really, really plan out. And I actually do have a business plan in presentation form, and I have to thank my parents for this because, like, every year end, they will sit me down and say, "Okay, please give me a presentation on what is next for next year."
mm,
And they're not my investors, they're not doing anything, but yeah, they're very, very specific in that. So they will ask me to present my points, present my profit and loss margin, how much growth did I have from last year. So I needed to learn how to count all these things
mhm,
just to show my parents.
mhm. That's
So
incredible.
in yeah, so in that way they helped me a lot to realize that in business you cannot just say, oh wow, I'm gaining this money, am I losing that amount too, or all that. So if you're in business or you're going to start a business, make sure you have reserves, make sure you have knowledge, make sure you have a good support group of I believe you always need someone who's more expert than you. You need someone that is as of same level, and you also need someone that you can coach.
Mm.
It's a very balanced life.
So it kind of keeps you in check in a way. So you don't think that you are better than people, but at the same time, you also know that you are somewhere. It kind of gives you some perspective to your life to remind you that the world just isn't your level. It is a complete spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
That's incredible advice. Thank you so much for your time, Adele. I will let you get to your next appointment. Thank you so much for joining us on DNBC.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'll see
Have a
you
good day.
watching DNBC Business Channel.